Coach, welcome. As always, start asking, how everything started, why inspiring you to become a coach and how, you started in this profession.
Yeah, great question. So in a nutshell, I did grow up in Phoenix. I played soccer there along with golf. I played a lot of different sports throughout high school. Ended up playing collegiately at the University of Arizona, where I played soccer for
Yes.
4 years. I took the bonus, 4.5
4.5.
path.
Okay.
We tried to get a redshirt season for me because my freshman year, I played limited minutes and then got an injury my spring semester. And so unfortunately the timing just didn't pan out. So I operated like a GA, like a grad assistant,
Grad
right?
assistant. Okay.
Yeah, kind of as I was finishing my undergraduate degree. And so that was my first taste of coaching. And I'd just come off of playing a semester, or a summer semester, I should say, over in North Carolina. It was through the W League. It was with the Charlotte Lady Eagles, and the opportunity there, we ended up playing for a national championship that summer. And so coming back into the college atmosphere after experiencing that, while I still wanted to play and did continue to play, I just really had my heart kind of open to like, man, the influence to really encourage somebody as a coach, your words can help or hurt that process considerably. And so to get to taste being kind of this, I was kind of like a liaison between the coaches and the team. I kind of operated like a mentor that senior fall, or my fifth year fall, I should say. And so it was just a really cool opportunity to kind of peel back the curtain and see what it was like behind the coach's doors versus being the player. And so I just kind of came away after being there, and I was actually on the sideline. We were playing at Stanford, and I had met a man who's now my husband. He was a college soccer coach as well.
Okay.
And he was across the country. And so I was like, man, like, this is incredible. Like, I'm sitting on one of the biggest arenas in collegiate soccer right now. And
Definitely.
I get it. Like, I get it. And so at that time I was still pursuing playing, but it definitely lit a little bit of a fire in my heart to consider coaching when I was done with that. So
Lipscomb University is a strong university. It's a private institution. Is that correct? It's a small institution. It's about, well, when it comes to a small, compared to, Arizona, of course,
right.
it's small, right? But you have about what, 2,800 or so, 2,500 students right there?
Yeah, in total on campus, well, I shouldn't say on campus, in total population, undergrad and graduate, we have about 5,000.
About 5,000. Okay.
Yeah, with undergrad, I can't remember the separation of numbers, but majority of the students live on campus as an undergrad, so that helps maintain a strong community presence, which has been really sweet.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Now, and how you balance the demand, with when you're coaching and between the academics and what you do, and the sports, and what is the best strategy that you found, is more effective for you?
Yeah, well, all of these girls who are golfers, and part of just our recruiting, like, we're pretty clear on just what type of university we are. We have a pretty strong, rigorous academic piece to what we have to offer. Most of these girls are coming in, and I think it's maybe a characteristic of the individual athlete personality, but they're coming in already really strong students.
Excellent.
And so, like, we were 13th in the nation for the highest GPA as a team last year.
Beautiful.
So there's not a lot of chasing I have to do on the academic side because they're already very disciplined.
That's good.
And to their credit, they're fantastic students. But we do have, the academic counseling program along with the student athletes. We call it the development center, but there's an academic center. So there's a ton of resources. Every freshman who comes in has to be a part of a certain amount of study hall hours. And that's just to help them learn how to manage the rigor of the academic side and the athletic demand.
And when it comes to the athletic size and scholarships, what's the average? How many athletes you have on your roster, and how you balance, your money, all the funds, right, that you have available for the athletes?
Yeah, great question. So at our university, we can stack scholarships. So we can actually issue academic money, athletic money, and then any other money they might qualify for. And so we could have a 3-layer, if you will, scholarship package that we offer them. Some schools only allow athletic or academic, but for us, we can do a whole package. So
beautiful,
a lot of it's great. It's great for us as coaches and for the athlete, because they're going to get a better opportunity to have more money. That being said, the college has like a structure of how much academic aid they get per what their GPA is and how well they do on the SAT, ACT, or the TOEFL if you're international. Right now, we've been test optional ever since COVID happened.
Correct.
There's a good chance our university may shift back to test mandatory.
Yes.
And the only reason for that is not to limit students, but to really provide more academic aid opportunity. And so if a student I'm recruiting has not taken an SAT or ACT in America or a TOEFL abroad, I'm going to ask them to do that, because it might qualify them for anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 more dollars, depending on how well their GPA and test scores add up together. From that, athletically, so a fully funded golf program in women's golf is going to be 6 scholarships for the entire roster.
6. Okay. And how many you have?
We're currently at about 5.5. And so while we're operating with that, we can choose to either divide those up, so if I have all 6, then I have 12, to work with. And so let's hypothetically say if a student comes in with a really high academic, qualification, they might get half academic aid, and then I can provide half, if not, like more of athletic aid, and they're getting closer to a full package. There's like all kinds of moving parts with that, but it really benefits us for a student to come in with academic aid, because it just helps stretch the athletic dollars across the whole roster. But that also benefits the student athlete, because they then have academic aid that has nothing to do with golf, and that's something that's managed by them, their school, in the academic side of it.
Looking, no matter what sports I play at the university, on your specific sport, excuse me, in golf, how soon should I approach you, coach? And how can I impress you in order for you to consider, me as a student athlete for the next, year or two?
Yeah, great question. So going back to like the heart, soul, mind, and strength, like the soul piece is going to be your character. Like how do you carry yourself? What are your coaches or, people who are doing life with you communicating? And then the strength piece is like your sports side, like how well, like on the golf lens, like what is your scoring average? How consistent are you in your scoring average? How do you carry yourself on the golf course? All those little things that kind of come into it. And so I'll get emails from a lot of different student athletes who are interested in our program. And I love that. I will read every single one of them. How quickly I can get to them varies on what's happening in our, like to be candid, I have over 100 emails right now in my recruiting file that I will read them, and I will get to them as soon as possible. But the reality is emails are great for like having a backlog, if you will, of information. Your persistence needs to be balanced. So if you send me one email and it's like, hey, coach, I want an opportunity for a scholarship. Here's all my info. Well, that's great. Like, I'll look at it. I think, and they'll say, hey, I'd like to set up a call. Tell me when you're available, which is respectful. But there's a very real aspect where if there's 99 others who have sent me this same type of email, we're going to be a little more selective on who we're calling just because of sheer time that we have. And so making sure, I'd say on the golf lens, tell us your name, tell us your
Mm-hmm.
grad year, tell
Mm-hmm.
us what your scoring average is. I'd also say, tell me what the yardage was on the golf course that you played, because, if I get an email from a player who's like, hey, I shot, 75 and 76 and 71, and I learned that the yardage was, 5,300 yards. Well, at college, we typically average anywhere from 59 to 6,300 yards. And
Okay.
so automatically, I'm going to add a few more strokes to that scoring
To that
average
score.
that they've
Mm-hmm.
told me, or to the scores they told me, because it's longer, right? Like the course is playing longer. It's probably going to take you a few more shots to finish out the hole. So give or take the hole itself. But all that to say, being really clear on that information, and then even giving maybe like a 3-month to 6-month backlog of scores that help
Okay.
us just kind of a glimpse of, like, don't be scared to say I shot 89. Like that's going to
Okay.
happen sometimes,
Okay.
especially at a junior golf age.
Uh-huh.
Like I know some recruiting programs out there will put the best average of scores of their best scores together. And so that's great on one hand. But again, if I'm like, well, I don't know that this is everything, this might only be part of the picture,
Mm-hmm.
it causes me to have to do a little more, research, which is okay. Like if we're interested, we'll do it. If we're not interested, we won't do it. Just because,
Exactly.
again, the amount of time we have.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if we get an email from a player, say, let's just say I got one in January and I sent an email back, I will always, depending on what age they are for the recruiting, because there's different parameters. Like right now, I can talk to 24s and 23s,
Okay.
like graduates, but I cannot talk to a 25, a 26, or a 27, which is
Mm-hmm.
8th grade, 9th grade, and 10th graders right now. Can't talk
Mm-hmm.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
Coming
But
in June, I can talk
but
to
you can
25s.
communicate with them on the email, correct? Can you do that?
25s and younger, I can send a camp invite or a camp
It can
email,
be in,
but I
okay.
cannot engage otherwise
You cannot engage. Gotcha.
until they,
So in this
especially.
case, probably the best case based on what you are stating right now, and the best case for me to approach is probably sophomore. Then, a starting sophomore, is that probably the best?
If a camper, or let me say this way, if you're 24 right now, which is a junior or a senior, and you call me or text me, I'm more inclined to see that before, getting back to you on an email. That being said, if you're a 25 or a 26, or even a 27 and 8th grader, and you want to call and ask me about camp, I can talk to you. If you call and ask me about our program and recruiting, can't talk to you.
Gotcha.
The camp piece is a great loophole. We found that on our soccer side, like that's an incredible pathway for exposure. Again, so I have a daughter who's a 25 and she's pursuing soccer in college right now.
Okay.
She's grown up with a mom and dad who are college coaches, and so she's kind of like whatever. But in that same breath, like she knows that there's a process that can help and hurt. And the best advice, we try to give her is like, just be consistent, like, and have the email be from her, like, right now she can send emails and say, hey coach, I'm going to be at this next event. Here's my schedule.
What are some of the most important life lessons that you can make an impact, with the student athletes, and both out and on the field? How that can, what's the best lesson that you can give to an athlete right there?
Gosh, I'd say mentality is one of the biggest things, right? Like I know for me as a goalkeeper, when I felt confident, I felt like I can conquer the world, when I was not confident, I struggled in every aspect. And that's still true as an adult, right? Like that doesn't go away. I have a huge heart from a faith lens, but also just like a piece of my story is I discovered my worth cannot be measured by my performance. If you play well, you feel amazing. You play crummy, you feel like real low. And so probably the greatest freedom for me personally was finding my worth in Christ. That was a huge piece of my journey. From a faith lens, it was incredibly liberating to realize like, wow, if I have this faith in proclaiming Christ as my savior, and if what he has done on the cross is true, then his grace is available to me. And so while I carry myself to pursue excellence and to pursue, doing really well in life, I don't have to be measured by other people's opinions or my performance if I'm solely finding it in what
Beautiful.
Christ has done.
Beautiful.
That being said, we all want to do well. And that's probably been the biggest reflection for me, is realizing, like, man, when I got to sit with Alex Morgan and these ladies from the national team, they all were like, they're $1 million athletes. They're at the highest level that a female athlete, especially in soccer, could achieve. And similarly, like, we were all just chatting about, like, man, like, we still don't feel like it's enough sometimes. Like, we still know there's a girl right behind me who's ready to take my spot. Like, there's still a sensitivity of, will I get to play? Will I not get to play? And so while those are real circumstances that we'll face in sport and in our career, professionally, whatever field we're in, I'd say the greatest life lesson I've discovered is doing what you do for something greater than yourself will, A, bless you and bless more people, but B, it's incredibly freeing if you're not solely finding your worth on what you achieve. Yeah.
If I'm a student athlete, and I'm looking at Lipscomb and I want to play with you at the school, what should I expect from you as a coach?
Expect to be encouraged. I love to encourage people. Expect that we have standards, like, there's standards of, we have a vision statement that says, I want you to, not me, but as a team, we want to operate with integrity on and off the course. So, we flesh that out then with values, character, integrity, work ethic, positivity, all the things. And so the question then is, can I honor my teammates, my coach, this program, this university in the decision I'm making right now, which kind of puts it back on them to make a decision. And so I want to pursue the both and, meaning I want to pursue excellence in all that we do. I'm going to encourage you to do it with a Christ-centered lens. Again, where you're at with that is totally okay. And I want to win. Like, I love to win. I'm not going to lie. I love to win. If we have lost and we've given it our all, that's okay. Excellent. If you want to come play golf here, know that you're going to be encouraged, but I also am going to challenge you. And at the end of the day, you're going to be loved for who you are, not for what you've done.